What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, I kind of wanted to do a real quick, basically recap of the first half of this Colts 2024 season. We're past week 9 now, so about to head into week 10. We're pretty much just over halfway through the season now. So, wanted to talk about the first couple ones here, guys, but before we get into it, I just want to say this episode is presented by Prize Picks. Be sure to visit the Prize Picks app today and use the code JUICE for a free $50 deposit when you complete your first $5 lineup. So the Colts are 4-5 through their first 9 games of the NFL season. You know, it's funny because I think a lot of people would have said that, this was probably close to about the record that a lot of us thought they would be at. Some of us thought 5-4, some of us said 4-5. Some people said 3-6. Some people said 6-3. So, it's very close one way or the other, but it has definitely taken a drastic turn, specifically within here in the last few weeks. Some of the biggest problems we thought we had going into the year was going to be the defense. And, the Colts defense, by all means, not a great defense this year, especially when you looked at the first 5 games. Yeah, the first 5 games, really, really, really bad. But again, I will say for the Colts in regards, they are at number 12, the number 12th ranked defense in points allowed, and number 29 in overall defense when it comes to opponents' yards per game. So, again, this is not a good team when it comes to really stopping anything. Again, they're 26th in passing yards per game. They're 31st in rushing yards per game when it comes to the defense. But when it comes to the points, again, the yardage is one thing, but the points per game, though, is very impressive given how many yards they actually do give up. Remember, like I said, the first 5 weeks, we were adamant that Gus Bradley needed to be out the door. And I think the majority of people still believe that. But obviously, these last few weeks, the Indianapolis Colts have started to find a winning recipe when it comes to the defense. That bend but don't break defense has really been kicking it into high gear. Really has. They have really been living up to it. They give up a lot of yardage, but they don't give up a ton of points throughout every single game. And they've faced some pretty solid offenses over the last few weeks. It is what it is about the defense, but it's weird because looking at it now, you would have thought that the offense was going to not be the problem. But here we are now with everything that has been occurring for the Indianapolis Colts. First of all, before we even get to the offense, so we talked about the defense. They started out the first 5 games, they've looked atrocious. The last 4, they played pretty solid. Before we get to the offense, this was, again, another year where the Indianapolis Colts had so many injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It's just how the NFL works. It's just how things work. I think a lot of people are starting to want to look into new strength and conditioning coaches and training staff because, the Colts seem to be injured a lot more frequently than everybody else. Maybe that's a recovery issue. Maybe that's a preparation issue. Maybe that's something else. I don't know.
Well, guys, with football season finally getting back into the swing of things, first off, we rejoice. But also, guys, when it comes to Prize Picks, this is going to be a great way for you guys, especially, to check out some of the stuff that Prize Picks has. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You heard me right. Only 4 correct picks. You can win 100 times your money, guys, on Prize Picks. Be sure to sign up today and get $50 off instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So if you're looking specifically for the Colts stuff, that's definitely something you guys should check out. But if you're looking for, like me, more NFL stuff, there's all sorts of stats and stuff that you can check out and make your picks. And there's definitely guys that are very consistent, like Jonathan Taylor against the Houston Texans, that you really feel like you can probably feel pretty good about overall, right? And there's some other ones where you're like, I don't know if I would take the over on that. I don't know if I would pick them to hit that margin, right? So, guys, be sure to go check out all that stuff on Prize Picks. It's only a couple examples. There's all the different odds that you could hope for when it comes to that for Prize Picks. So I encourage you guys to go check that out, but definitely excited for this season. And hopefully you guys will be following along with us and everything with Prize Picks and what they do. So be sure to download the app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Like I said, guys, it's a great way to continue to stay in with week to week life of the NFL, specifically with your favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts. So be sure to do that. Be sure to check out Prize Picks. And remember, Prize Picks, run your game.
But yeah, the offense though, again, the 22nd ranked offense this year, that's been with Richardson and Flacco both getting significant points and time. Also 22nd in yards per game. The Colts are 16th in rushing yards per game and are 22nd in passing yards per game. So, I mean, this has definitely been a up and down year for the Indianapolis Colts offensively. You started the year out with Anthony Richardson, and then he got hurt, and then Joe Flacco had to come in, and then Anthony Richardson came back, and now he's been benched, and now Joe Flacco is going to take over for the remainder of the season, most likely. That what has transpired, you see the Indianapolis Colts, and they're still within shooting distance of a playoff spot, despite how bad they've looked. But I mean, when you look at just how the Colts have handled this season, I mean, again, we talk about the injuries, we talk about like the lack of consistency from both ends of the football field. The offense has looked inefficient in so many ways, and the defense has certainly lacked consistency. And I think that we've now seen like what the Colts actually are. And of course, as of recently, with these last few weeks, with how the Indianapolis Colts have handled their quarterback situation, really has put a sour taste in a lot of guys' mouths in how the Colts handled this and like what they plan to do with it going forward. I mean, again, this has felt like an eternity for this Colts team in general. Never did I think that when we're at a record that I could realistically have seen this Indianapolis Colts team be at this point in the year. I wouldn't have been shocked with this. But the problem that I've seen with it has just been how much the Colts have pretty much lost the fan base in a way, right? Like we have seen this team just go back on its word. We've seen no progress from certain individuals and coaching staff and player personnel and all these other things. And, you know, it's been a disappointing year because some guys that you expected to step up at times have not. And some of the guys that you didn't know if they would have actually stepped up. So it has been a roller coaster of a season for the Indianapolis Colts. And once again, the Indianapolis Colts, every single game this year for the Indianapolis Colts has been decided by one score or by one score. I mean, and, you know, again, that goes to show you that if this team was any more disciplined, if this team was any more efficient, if this team was anything better, I mean, this could be a grand situation for Indianapolis. But yet here we are sitting at 4-5, just about to go into, or we are currently in our toughest stretch of the season now. And, you know, you gotta face the Bills coming up, you gotta face the Jets, you gotta face the Detroit Lions. I mean, you're gonna face some really good teams coming up. And, you know, the confidence in the Indianapolis Colts at this point is at an all-time low. There's virtually nothing that gives this Colts fan base excitement about this team. And why should there be? You know, the offense has been lackluster to say the least. And, you know, your coach is saying things that your previous coach got fired for saying far too often, right? So, I mean, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this Colts first half of the season. They are 4-5, and who knows where the rest of this goes? Does the Indianapolis Colts, do they figure it out, or do they continue to fall back at the hands of Shane Steichen and Joe Flacco or whoever the quarterback is, and the rest of this team? And, you know, this Indianapolis Colts team where, you know, a lot of expectations, a lot of people thought that they could potentially contend for the AFC South. Even if they didn't, they had a really great shot at a wild card. And while all of those things are definitely still in play, just feels like overall confidence in them is just wavering faster and faster. But let me know your guys' thoughts on this. I mean, we're definitely not off to a great start, but can the Colts turn it around in the second half, or are we going to see more of what we saw in the first? But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much. And as always, go Colts.